Welcome to Sci-Fi Stories. If you love stories of courage and mystery, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community.
The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind you get when a ship is running smooth, but the sharp, electric silence that comes right before something goes catastrophically wrong. 20 armed mercenaries stood frozen in hangar deck 6, weapons raised. And in the middle of them stood a human. Unarmed. No armor. No visible implants. Just a mechanic in all-stained coveralls holding a Hydra spanner like she had been interrupted halfway through fixing a coffee machine. I remember thinking, this is going to be quick. I was wrong. But hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. The panic didn't hit until later, when I started replaying the math in my head. Let me rewind. The pirate boarding should never have succeeded. Our cruiser was Federation grade, layered shields, automated turrets, redundant security grids. But pirates don't win by being stronger. They win by being unpredictable. They slipped through during a maintenance cycle, spoofed our transponder, and clamped onto the hull before anyone realized what was happening. By the time the alarm sounded, they were already inside. Heavy boots. Mag rifles. Shock nets. Professional. Efficient. Terrifying. Crew scattered towards safe corridors while security teams mobilized, but hangar deck 6 was too exposed. Too open. Too far from help. That's where she was. Lena Ortiz. Senior propulsion mechanic. Height, unimpressive. Mass, negligible. Threat assessment, non-existent. At least, that's what her file said. The pirate captain was enormous. Nearly 3 meters tall, wrapped in composite plating with a hydraulic exosleeve on his right arm. The kind of opponent you don't fight. You survive him. If you're lucky. He stepped forward and pointed at Lena. On your knees. Simple instruction. Universal language. Everyone obeys eventually. Except she didn't. She sighed. Actually sighed. Like someone asked her to stay late after shift. Can this wait? She said. I'm recalibrating a fuel injector. The pirates laughed. I almost did too. Until the captain fired. The magnetic slug screamed across the deck. At that range, it should have punched straight through her torso. Instead, she moved. Not fast. Not dramatic. Just efficient. A half-step pivot. The round tore through a cargo drone behind her. My brain struggled to process what I'd seen. No panic. No adrenaline flail. Just geometry. The captain charged. Each step dented the deck plating. His exosleeve whined as it powered up, turning his punch into something closer to industrial machinery than biology. I braced for the impact. So did everyone else. When that fist came down, it carried enough force to crumple a shuttle hatch. Lena didn't block it. She redirected it. Her Hydra spanner snapped upward, not to stop the blow but to nudge it 5 centimeters off trajectory. 5 centimeters? That was all it took. The fist slammed into the deck. Metal screamed. The pirate staggered. And before momentum finished its sentence, she grabbed his wrist, rotated under the joint, and used his own arm as a lever. There is a particular sound a powered exosleeve makes when its servos are forced backward. It is not a healthy sound. The giant collapsed. Not unconscious. Not dead. Just structurally defeated. The entire fight lasted maybe 3 seconds. No one fired after that. Predators understand hierarchy instinctively. And in that moment, it rewrote itself. She looked around at the remaining pirates. You boys done? One of them tried a shock net. She threw the Hydra spanner. Not hard. Not wild. Precise. It struck the emitter mid-flight, collapsing the field into a burst of harmless static. Then she picked up the captain's dropped rifle and calmly ejected the power cell. No theatrics. No anger. Just problem solving. The pirates retreated. Actually retreated. Back through the breach. Back to their ship. They undocked without another shot. 20 heavily armed raiders. Repelled by a mechanic. Later, in engineering, I found her exactly where the incident started. Kneeling beside the fuel injector. Hands black with grease. Humming softly. I asked the only question my brain could assemble. How? She glanced up. Leverage, she said. Seeing my confusion, she wiped her hands and explained. Humans aren't the biggest. So we learned early that fighting strength with strength is stupid. She tapped the wrench against the engine housing. Everything has a weak angle. Find it, and the rest solves itself. I asked if she had military training. She shrugged. Community center jiu-jitsu. Tuesdays and Thursdays. That answer bothered me more than if she'd said, classified special forces. Because it meant this wasn't rare. This wasn't exceptional. This was normal. Fleet Command updated our protocols within the hour. Humans were reclassified. Not as heavy infantry. Not as shock troops. But as force multipliers. A species that turns disadvantage into strategy. Weakness into mathematics. Months have passed since the boarding. The crew sleeps easier now. Pirate attacks dropped sharply once word spread. Turns out criminals prefer softer targets. Funny how reputation travels faster than light. Sometimes I still hear that metallic shriek of the exosleeve folding in on itself. Sometimes I remember how she yawned afterward, like the whole thing had been a mild inconvenience. And I've stopped thinking of humans as fragile. Fragile things shatter. Humans don't. They adapt. They calculate. They endure. If the universe is a problem, they become the solution. So here's the lesson we logged into Federation doctrine. Never mistake lack of size for lack of danger. Because the quiet mechanic fixing your engine today might be the reason your ship survives tomorrow. And if you ever board a human vessel expecting easy prey, pray the mechanic is off duty. Because if she isn't, you won't even understand how you lost.